Hello and welcome to the Daily Records High School Football Insider, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings here in Worcester. I'm sports writer Mike Plant, along with my colleague Randy Worrell, joining me with a preview of Week 8's games and a quick look back at last week. Before that, just a quick reminder that next Wednesday, October 21st, we will be hosting a live insider program from B-Dubs with players and coaches from Worcester, Northwestern, Waynedale, and Chippewa. It's from 7:30 to 8:30 on Wednesday night, so we invite you to stop in and partake of the great food and service at B-Dubs and join us for some high school football talk. It's next Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Randy, we might as well talk about some football right now, starting with the two area teams on top of their respective leagues, Worcester and Norway. You saw the Generals last week at Lexington, and where they remained unbeaten in the Ohio Cardinal Conference.
Right, the Generals picked up their fourth win in a row, and it wasn't easy. You know, that before the season, if someone would have said Lexington was going to be a player in the OCC race at the midpoint mark, I'm not sure if you would agree with that. But you know, they've been playing well. They were 5-1 coming in. You know, Worcester went over there and got it out to victory. It wasn't easy. You know, it was a dogfight all the way, probably a little closer than the 25-8 score. And you know, this sets up this week's game with Mansfield Senior, which is pretty much the OCC title game for a lot of people. You know, if Worcester wins it, it's pretty much over. And let's go to Doug Haas right now. He has some quotes and a little bit on the upcoming game and last week's game against Lexington.
We're speaking now with Worcester football coach Doug Haas. And Doug, things are going pretty well for your team right now. First place in the Ohio Cardinal Conference. You moved up to second in your computer region in Division II, and you even showed up in the AP poll this week. But obviously you need a big win against Mansfield Senior to keep all that going. How big a game for this is it for your team at home, and what's it going to take to beat the TY Tigers?
You know, obviously it's a huge game. Just, you know, and more so from the standpoint of, you know, making sure that we continue to kind of control our destiny from the standpoint of, you know, securing the OCC title, and that's kind of going to be the first and foremost aspect of it, and all the other things in terms of, you know, rankings and playoffs and whatnot. You know, those will fall into place. But you know, this has got to be the first order of business, and you know, OCC foe, a very good OCC foe. You know, back at our place, homecoming, you know, all those things. So I mean, that's what makes this game paramount.
What jumps out at you about Mansfield Senior, the way they're playing this year, their style, and what kind of game are you expecting?
You know, they're really kind of the same, you know, senior team that I've seen in years past. I mean, they're, you know, physical defensively, they got great skill. You know, again, you know, from an offensive line standpoint, they do a really good job at blocking for those guys, and then those running backs are really, you know, they'll, you know, they're gonna make you be honest and make tackles and things like that. So, you know, from that standpoint, they're a pretty complete team, and then, you know, from a special teams kick game standpoint, they're pretty lethal as well. They got a strong kicker and a strong punter as well. So, I mean, it's going to be a tremendous challenge for us, but one that we're looking forward to.
All right, welcome back, folks. And talking about that Worcester game at Lexington last week, Mike, you know, Worcester played well defensively for pretty much every game this week, but for the fourth game in a row, they gave up 8 points or less, and they had to do that last week to get it done. And I thought the other big thing was their special teams play. With the game still in the balance in the mid third quarter, late third quarter, early fourth quarter, they punted out of their end zone twice, you know, got it out of there without catastrophe, and their defense held. So, you know, that's been a big part of their game is, you know, big plays, defense, and then last week their special teams came up big. So, you know, for Worcester, they're going to keep that train rolling, and, you know, they got their biggest game of the year coming up. So, right. And you have something on the Wayne County League in Norway, right?
Yeah, you know, Norway, since a week 1 loss at Hubbard, Randy, they've ripped off 6 straight wins, including a 4-0 record that has the Bobcats all alone in first place in the Wayne County Athletic League. Last week, I saw the Bobcats at Smithville. It was hard not to be impressed by their overall play, Ranger. Defensively, up front, lineman Tavis Sticka, Coit Anderson, Elliot Gerber, Jacob Saddlemeyer, they've been dominating recently. Behind them, you got linebackers Ben Burke, Chase Gosser. Then you got Jeremy Miller and Zach Steiner kind of roaming around as roving backs, doing a lot of damage, and they're really athletic in the back end as well. Offensively, even though they were missing their leading wide receiver, Quentin Hall, the Bobcats threw for 139 yards and a couple of scores to Steiner and Jared Davis, who both made great catches. And Zollinger, quarterback Elmer Zollinger, added a touchdown run, and Norwayne showed its explosiveness, Randy. They scored 4 touchdowns in just a little over 4 minutes, kind of blew that game open. Maybe the most impressive stat of last week for Norwayne is that their least impressive. Miller, their star running back, who was shooting for another 2,000-yard season, was held by the Smithies to 56 yards. His lowest total, I think, since sometime in his sophomore year. But Norwayne didn't miss a beat, and it's a young team that they just keep getting better and better. Okay, let's take a break, and when we come back after this message from Buffalo Wild Wings, we'll take a look at this week's games.
Buffalo Wild Wings Team Up for Kids program is proud to support the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Join us at buffalowildwings.com/giving.
Welcome back to the Daily Records High School Football Insider, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Randy, Friday night, the area spotlight is right here in Worcester at Follis Field, where the Generals will take on a dangerous Mansfield Senior team.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Mansfield Senior comes in at 5-2, and this is pretty much their season. I mean, their entire season for the OCC and the playoffs. Yeah. They're tied for 12th in the region. They have to win to stay in it, to climb in the top 8. While Worcester is, pretty solid at second. You think Worcester is only going to lose maybe, one more game tops, and that would be Friday night against Mansfield Senior. But the thing about Mansfield Senior, Mike, they lost touchdown games to Ashland and Canton McKinley, by 7 each. But their 4 wins, they don't schedule their league games, I understand that, but their 4 wins, their teams are 9-26 combined. So, Worcester went over there last year when Mansfield was probably the favorite and put a pretty good whooping on them. So you got to figure Worcester is the heavy favorite, going into Friday night's game, I would think, and like I said, if Worcester wins this game Friday night, Mike, they could leapfrog and be number 1 in the region. They could win the region computers points. Leading right now is Worthington and Kilbourne, and they have to play Olentangy Friday night, which is going to be a tough game. And last week they beat 0-7 Franklin Heights in overtime by 6. So, you got to think Worcester's in the driver's seat Friday night and in the OCC title race.
In the other OCC games, Orville will travel to Mansfield-Madison. Ashland takes on Clear Fork, and West Holmes will try to snap its 6-game losing streak Ranger when the Knights host Lexington. In the Principals Athletic Conference, Triway goes to CVCA, and Tuslaw is at Tusky Valley in what is a surprising battle to stay in the Principals Athletic Conference race. Both teams have 1 loss going into Friday night's game.
Yeah, you look at that pack race. It's been Triway for how long now? At least 3 years, maybe 4, and now you have 4 that are right there: Manchester, Tuslaw, and it's anyone's game there. But Triway goes to CVCA. You think they're going to get their 3rd win of the season?
They should.
Yeah, you should. You hope so. So, and that wraps up the pack games.
Yeah, and Tusky Valley, real quick, 0-10 last year. It's just like Lexington. And to be in the race under a first-year coach, they've done a nice job. In the Wayne County Athletic League, first place Norwayne will host Hillsdale, while Smithville tries to bounce back at 6-1 Chippewa in another key league contest. Then there's Northwestern, currently tied for 2nd place with Chippewa at 3-1 in the league. The Huskies go to Rittman, looking to set up their final 2 weeks, Randy, that includes games with Norwayne and Chippewa. And in the other league game, Dalton is at Waynedale as the Golden Bears try to keep their playoff hopes alive. Elsewhere, Loudonville will host unbeaten in state number 1 Division 7 team Danville in a Mid-Buckeye Conference game, which should be a good one. And Cloverleaf is at Ravenna in the Portage Trail Conference. Once again, that's next Wednesday. We'll be hosting Live Insider from B-Dubs in Worcester. Players and coaches from 4 area teams, Worcester, Northwestern, Chippewa, and Waynedale, from 7:30 to 8:30 Wednesday night. This guy will be here. Producer, director Dan Starcher should be there if he shows up this time, and along with sports editor Aaron Dorkson, myself, and we'll have a lot of fun talking high school football. That's a wrap on Week 8, Daily Record High School Football Insider. For Randy Worrell, I'm Mike Plant, and as always, thanks for watching and reading.